Tonight on CTV News, a last-ditch effort to save a popular primary school, more bad news for first-time home buyers, and another major milestone in the rebuild of Christchurch City.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. Is snowfall more likely to close a school than rockfall? Well, that's what Redcliffe's school is saying in a last-ditch effort to keep the school open. Submissions to the Ministry of Education to save the popular primary school close at the end of this week. More than 2,000 submissions are demanding the school remains open. Here's Jared McCulloch.
It's been a waiting game for the community of Redcliffe's, but the deadline for submissions are only days from closing. Back in March this year, Education Minister Hikia Plurata extended the consultation period, saying the Christchurch school may close.
Based on all the geotechnical, all the modelling results, that I'm initiating consultation to propose closure of Redcliffe School.
They were forced to move from their original site in June 2011 after the earthquakes caused severe damage to land and rockfall risk from the cliff above. Now they're operating out of the Van Ash Education Centre, a few kilometres around the bay in Sumner. A number of geotechnical reports suggest the site could be safe if some of the buildings were moved forward and away from the cliff face.
It points to the fact that the cliff continues to degrade, that there will be further rock falls. The reports do state that if the school is moved forward and a mechanised bund of just over 4 metres is erected, that it will provide safety.
However, she says there could be a possibility of relocating the school again if the cliff face continues to degrade. Redcliffe's principal Kim Alexander believes the extra time has allowed the school's board to further evaluate the site, and she says it'll provide more evidence that the site is safe.
When we show the Minister that it's really the right thing to do for us to go back there, then there's going to need a little bit of time to plan, so the site is the best it can be. So that's going to take a wee while, but I think there'll just be such a feeling of positivity at that point.
The school has had a number of events to raise support from the community and afar, with many sending in their own submissions to the Minister.
They're a community that understands rockfall and all of those things very well. And plus then the extra geotech report we've had done and the evidence with that.
The school's been working hard to do the best job possible to try and get their site back.
The board has had a couple of evenings with parents, lots of communication through our Facebook page, so really it's been about communication with our community and even wider than that.
And although it's been a waiting game for the parents, staff and students, the fight has continued and is still strong.
Hope definitely hasn't faded. If anything, it's kind of obviously on the it was a bit of a shock at first on the 23rd of March, but the strength of the community just shows their real determination.
But she says it's been a good step for the school.
We always knew that would make things feel as though it was sort of being dragged out for longer, but then to get the expert evidence that was required to address the Minister's concerns, we knew that we needed the extra time for that. And I think the community completely understands that.
Submissions close this Wednesday, the 1st of July, and then it's another wait for the Minister's final decision, which is expected in August. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And we'll have more on that story on tomorrow night's news right here at CTV News. Well, it's even more unaffordable than ever before, and first-time home buyers in Christchurch might have to wait more than a year before house prices level off.
It's nothing new to first-time buyers, the struggle to get onto the property ladder. But now a new report shows prices have eased in Canterbury, a sign of the housing market slowing down.
For first-time buyers, that's meaning possibly that more people are able to look at purchasing their first home, and with recent reductions in interest rates, that's also adding to making that proposition a little more affordable.
The interest.co.nz Home Loan Affordability Report says the average price for a home in the region is around $342,000. That number also includes averages from the West Coast as well. But this mortgage advisor believes it's more likely to be around $420,000 in Christchurch, and believes the number of people opening the door to their first home is increasing.
We've seen with other recent changes, KiwiSaver changes from the 1st of April, that there's more first home buyers in the market at present. So there's certainly more activity in that first home buyers price bracket.
One of the biggest factors is supply and demand, having enough houses to cater for the people willing to buy. And over the last 12 months, he believes more housing and subdivisions have left a smaller market of properties suitable for the first-timers. He says it's not clear what the future holds, but he believes the market is beginning to ease in Canterbury, a somewhat good sign for new property hunters.
I would think that house prices are going to remain relatively static in the short term. While saying that, the interest rates ticking down tends to lead to more people think about doing something, whether that's buying their first home or changing properties. So that can lead to more buyers entering the market.
Meacham says many earthquake-damaged properties that are as-is, whereas is continuing to grow with more people moving on to newer and other properties. And he believes it's a very active market.
You've got a range of people looking to buy in that part of the market, and some of those are first-home buyers, often with family assistance, and that can frequently mean that they get a home that's, while damaged, of a much higher standard than they would have otherwise.
And although it's adding to the greater supply of livable properties, it can also be a risk.
That's a difficult call, whether buying a house that's got no insurance, whether that's an option. Obviously there's some risk with that, but certainly if the house is repaired to the minimum standards required by the building code, insurance can be obtained.
So there could be light at the end of the tunnel for many in Canterbury, but it's still a difficult ask to get the deposit and the keys for a major investment. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
Better roads and water services for all. That's what Selwyn residents have been promised over the next 10 years in the district's new long-term plan.
The country's fastest growing district has confirmed its long-term plan today, with roading improvements a key focus. Its road networks are under increasing demand as people continue to move to Lincoln and Rolleston and commute to the city. Road freight is also increasing. Extensions to the Southern Motorway, a new flyover for State Highway 1, more maintenance work and linking up the towns via new bike paths are all in the Selwyn District Council's mix for the next 10 years. The council received nearly 370 submissions for the plan, with many residents also wanting more investment in public parks and community services. But the council stopped short at charging rates across the district for these developments, at least for the next year. However, all residents will now pay a district-wide rate for water and wastewater from the 1st of July. This will effectively subsidise the development of such systems for its smaller communities in the future. Residents will now be paying an average rate increase of 4.4% per year for the next 10 years. But as this will be a mix of general and target rates rises could be between 3 and 7%, depending on the resident, with rural property owners paying closer to 6% more.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, Scottish descendants rejoice at the opening of the newly rebuilt Caledonian Hall. Welcome back to CTV News. Some positive news for you now. The bagpipes will play again. The Caledonian Hall on Kilmore Street is the latest cultural centre in the CBD to be up and running again. Chelsea Daniels was there.
The Canterbury Caledonian Society is beginning a new chapter in their 130-year history with the opening of their new purpose-furnished hall. The Society's original hall, constructed in 1923, was destroyed in the February 2011 earthquake.
The history is always the history, but history is part of the legacy. But what defines us is what we set for the next generation. We believe this is the next legacy of the society. So the last 100 years or 90 odd years that the old hall sufficed. Hopefully, this hall will see the society through the next 100 years.
An active member of the New Zealand Scottish community, the Society has more than 400 members who didn't have a place to call their own until now.
As we were spread to different parts of the city after the earthquake, then the concern I have is keeping as much of the group together as possible. When you haven't got a common facility, then things start to splinter a little bit and people will go somewhere else that might seem more attractive. So we're lucky to keep the balance of the membership together. So for us, it's important that we're here now so we can gather what we've got, which is most all of our membership, and then we can continue to provide a centre of development for the Scottish activities.
The Society has extensive piping and dancing programs, ranging from children of ages 3 all the way up to senior activities.
So that's continued part of what we're about, is preserving the heritage for the next generation going forward. So this now will enable us to do that, and now's the time for us to get stock of all that.
He says he's been over to Scotland on several trips and noticed how different things worked over there.
Very few bands would own their own band rooms, and those that do are probably not, certainly not in this league.
The Society's notable collection of historical and heritage Scottish items, including an ornate ram's head snuff box and letters to members fighting in the war, have also been in storage until now. The official opening of the hall was on Saturday, with over 200 members in attendance. Along with the reopening of the Isaac Theatre Royale earlier this year, the Caledonian Hall is another sign of culture and arts groups moving back into the city. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Excellent news indeed. And another historical building has also reopened. Hundreds turned out to St Mary's Church in Timaru this weekend to celebrate their rebuilt church.
After 3 years sitting empty, St Mary's Church in Timaru has reopened. The Gothic structure was closed as a precaution following the Canterbury earthquakes. More than 200 people attended the Anglican Church's first service yesterday, including parishioners and politicians. Although the church was shaken by the Canterbury earthquakes, the Anglican Church said the structure was never dangerous, but the precautionary closure was made to reduce any risk of accident. It's thought only $10,000 worth of repair was needed, including repairs to stained glass windows and the roof and spire.
The free health bus has been considered such a success it could return to a construction site near you.
Following on from the success of the inaugural event earlier this year, 600 rebuild workers will be getting free health checks starting this week. WorkSafe New Zealand carried out the checks to 400 workers around Christchurch in March, and this winter they're doing it again. The checks involve blood pressure and cholesterol tests and provide advice on occupational health. Other advice will be given about health risks faced on site, including dust, noise, asbestos, exposure to hazardous substances and fatigue. The idea behind the checks is to raise attention to health improvement as well as safety. The occupational health van will be in the CBD from today until the 3rd of July and on residential building sites from 6th till 8th July.
A program to help young students engage with classroom learning is being put to the test by a Rolleston teacher who says it works to improve children's confidence. Chelsea Daniels has more.
Christchurch has taken a new approach in empowering young people, but will it be effective? Amanda Staniford has been teaching for over 20 years and has developed a program to teach life lessons to children.
I have been teaching in the classroom for 20 plus years. I've dealt with a wide range of children, including special needs. When I did my life coaching course in America, I knew that I could use it any way that I wanted, but for me, the essence was to be able to use it with children.
The drama-based program includes activities about feelings and confidence. She teaches children how to react appropriately when you feel embarrassed, when someone is harassing you, or when you've got a problem.
Our philosophy is, I think, I am. So we teach the children very early on that everything they think is producing an outcome in front of them. So if they're thinking positively, they're going to have a positive outcome. We also teach them that whatever situation they're in, they can control their thinking. they can choose how they want to think about it, and that gives different outcomes than they perhaps otherwise would have been involved with.
Amanda teaches how positive affirmations can make all the difference to a child's confidence. Some include, when I give my word, I keep it. I don't make excuses, complain or blame. I follow my dreams, I don't go adrift. And if I make a mistake, I own up to it. But how is this different to other school programs set in place now?
There are other life coaches, obviously, and coaching is a big business and a growing business. But I don't know of anybody else that's doing this particular thing in New Zealand. There are definitely this sort of academy overseas, but yes, I would like to think that we are breaking new ground.
So has this performance approach worked to build the kids' confidence?
Well, I share my ideas more. I feel much more confident. Helps me grow up and be a good adult and healthy child, so I stay alive for a long time.
The children showcased their talents last night at a performance called Rolly's Rock Solid Kids.
For them, I've said it's great that they're on stage and it's great that they're growing in confidence on Sunday, but the big thing has been the process that they have undergone in order to get to that point. So when the wheels have been falling off because you don't know your line or something's not quite going right, then we've just stopped and put our skills into place, and then they can actually see the difference that it's making.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Still to come here on CTV News, the local sport, and of course the region's forecast. Welcome back to CTV News, the all-important weather forecast just moments away. But just a reminder, if you have a story you'd like us to know about and film, you can always contact the CTV newsroom. That email address is news@ctv.co.nz, and of course CTV News now streams live every day at ctv.co.nz. Well, Gordon's standing by next with a roundup of the weekend's sports action.
The Canterbury Rams have finished their 2015 National Basketball League season on a high after a win over the Wellington Saints on Friday night. With the playoffs out of the picture for the Cantabs, they dug deep to put in a clinical performance and get one over their long-time rivals. After what had been a disappointing season to date, former Tall Blacks point guard Jeremy Kench put in easily his best display this year, racking up a game-high 31 points and shooting 5 from 8 beyond the arc. The point guard helped his side off to a flying start, which saw the Rams lead by 9 at half-time. The Rams were then able to hold off any threat the Saints threw their way in the final 2 quarters, including Wellington lighting up from 3-point range in the dying minutes. The Rams eventually hung on with relative ease to get the win 107-99. Well, to ice hockey now, and the Canterbury Red Devils had a successful trip to Auckland over the weekend with 2 dominant performances, seeing them come away with maximum points. The defending national champs started the weekend with a 6-3 win on Saturday, before finishing the trip in style yesterday with a one-sided victory, 8-2. The Red Devils face another road trip this weekend when they head to Dunedin to take on the Thunder in another double-header. Well, after a disaster at his home event in Canterbury last month, Matt Summerfield made a successful return to the National Rally Championship at the weekend's Rally of Gisborne. After getting his Subaru back together in time for the event, Summerfield finished 4th in Gisborne. There was also success for Canterbury's Marcus Van Klink, who finished 8th overall and 1st in the classic class in his Mazda RX-7. And finally tonight, Lincoln University and Marist Albion have booked their semi-final spots in this year's Hawkins Trophy after both teams had wins in the 3rd round of the top 6 Metro Rugby comp. Hawkins Cup winners Lincoln University put in yet another dominant display, this time taking down Sydenham 45 points to 7. Marist Albion once again made the most of having Crusaders and Fijian winger Nemani Ndolo in their backline, with the wrecking ball crossing the line once in the match as his side defeated New Brighton 34 points to 21. The other top 6 games saw Christchurch get a comfortable win over University 40 points to 23. With 2 games remaining, Lincoln and Marist are both on 15 competition points, with Christchurch in third on 9, followed by New Brighton on 6, while University and Sydenham have just 1 point each. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thank you, Gordon. Now it's time for your region's weather.
Kia ora Canterbury. Well, the sunshine was definitely out for most places yesterday. We saw sun this morning as well, however a few gusty winds came in this afternoon. But let's take a look at today's highs. Twizel on 12 degrees, everywhere else on 14 for South Canterbury. Heading to mid-Canterbury now, Christchurch and Leeston 13 degrees for both of you, Akaroa and Darfield on 14, slightly warmer, Ashburton on 12 and a bit cooler for Methven on 11. Heading to North Canterbury now, Kaikoura on 13 as well as Rangiora and Oxford. A bit warmer for Amberley and Cheviot on 14 as well as Hanmer Springs 2. Colvin and you took out the region's high today with 15. Over to the Alpines, Lake Tekapo 9 degrees for you. Taking a look at tomorrow's weather now. Timaru, sunny skies for you with a few northwesterly winds. 13 degrees is your high and 4 for your morning. Over to Ashburton, sunny skies here as well, but a little bit cooler on 10, 2 degrees for your morning, not too bad. Heading to the Garden City now, sunny skies again here with northwesterly winds, quite a bit warmer though on 14 degrees and 4 for your morning. Kaikoura, you're following suit with 14 degrees, northwesterly winds, a few cloudy patches here though. Looking to other areas now for tomorrow's weather. Twizel and Waimate, you're both on 14 degrees, few northwesterly winds coming through. Temuka and Geraldine, northwesterlies for you as well. To mid-Canterbury now, Akaroa and Leeston, 13 degrees for both of you, sunny skies. Darfield a bit warmer on 14 and Methven on 12. Few cloudy patches for you over there. Heading to North Canterbury, 10 degrees for Hanmer Springs, Colvin and Rangiora down here. Amberley and Cheviot, 13 with northwesterlies coming through. And over to the Alpine region, Mount Cook, 9 degrees with a few cloudy patches and a bit of rain for you as well. Heading to the upcoming days though, Wednesday's temperatures, we're seeing northwesterly winds coming through, the early teens for your temperatures and sunny skies there. Over to your Thursday, 10 degrees for everyone here, northwesterlies again, a few cloudy patches for Christchurch and Ashburton. Looking to other areas for the upcoming days, we're seeing northwesterly winds coming through, cloudy patches. As we heard further north, we're seeing sunny skies. Watch that rain over there though. Thursday's weather now, we're seeing northwesterly winds again, quite similar to Wednesday's temperatures. However, as we go up, we're seeing sunny skies, northwesterly winds coming through there. So as we can see over the next coming days, the sun is set to come out and those northwesterly winds are coming through. That is your weather update for Monday.
Thanks, Mercy, and that is CTV News for Monday. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.